Pitfall is a video game released by Activision for the Atari 2600 in 1982. It is the second best-selling game made for the Atari 2600, with over 4 million copies sold. Gameplay: the player must maneuver a character through a maze-like jungle in an attempt to recover 32 treasures in a 20-minute time period. Along the way, he must negotiate numerous hazards, including pits, quicksand, rolling logs, fire, rattlesnakes, scorpions, and crocodiles. Harry may jump over or otherwise avoid these obstacles by climbing, running, or swinging on vines. Treasure includes gold and silver bars, diamond rings, and bags of money. Under the jungle there is a tunnel which Harry can access through ladders found at various points. Traveling though the tunnel moves forward 3 screens at a time, which is necessary in order to collect all the treasures within the time limit. However, the tunnels are filled with dead ends blocked by brick walls, forcing the player to return to the surface at one of the ladders, and try to find a way around again, thus wasting time. The tunnels also contain scorpions, which can harm Harry. Scoring: the player starts with 2,000 points and has 3 lives to complete the course within the 20-minute time limit. Each treasure collected varies in value: money bag, 2,000 points, silver bar, 3,000 points, gold bar, 4,000 points, diamond ring, 5,000 points. There are 8 of each treasure. A perfect score is achieved by claiming all 32 treasures without losing any points. Points are deducted by either falling in a hole or hitting either stationary or rolling logs. Point loss depends on how long contact is made with the log. The player loses a life if Harry comes in contact with any obstacle or falls into a tar pit, quicksand, waterhole, or mouth of a crocodile. The game ends when either all 32 treasures have been collected, all 3 lives have been lost, or the time has run out. When Pitfall was originally sold, anyone who scored above 20,000 points could send Activision a picture of his or her television screen to receive a Pitfall Harry Explorer Club patch. History and development: Pitfall was created by David Crane, a programmer who worked for Activision in the early 1980s. In a November 2003 interview with Edge he described how in 1979 he had developed the technology to display a realistic running man and in 1982 was searching for a suitable game in which to use it. The game's technical achievements included non-flickering, multicolored, animated sprites on a system with notoriously primitive graphics hardware. Innovative techniques were used to keep the code space within the 4K limit, including a polynomial counter to create 256 screens within 50 bytes of code. The swinging vines are created by repeatedly displaying the Atari's 1-pixel ball sprite at different offsets. Reception: Arcade Express reviewed the game on August 30, 1982, shortly before release, stating that it may well be the best adventure game yet produced for the VCS, giving it a score of 8 out of 10. Video Games criticized Activision for not enhancing the Intellivision version's graphics. We all know you can do more with graphics on Intellivision than on the VCS. So why no improvements in Pitfall? Release: Pitfall was very successful for the 2600, and was the #1 video game on Billboard for 64 weeks in a row. Several ports were made for computer systems, such as the MSX, Commodore 64, Atari 800, and TRS-80 color computer, as well as for home consoles, such as ColecoVision and Intellivision. Sequels and ports: Crane produced a sequel, Pitfall 2, Lost Caverns in 1983. The Pitfall series appeared on the Nintendo Entertainment System in November 1987, in the form of Super Pitfall, which is a reworking of Pitfall 2, Lost Caverns. In 1985, Activision licensed Pitfall to Sega, who made an arcade version of Lost Caverns. The game was thoroughly remade with a first level resembling the original Pitfall, a second level resembling the caverns of Pitfall 2, and later levels that were completely original. This version was subsequently adapted for the SG-1000. Pitfall was produced for the Commodore 64 and Apple II home computers using Gary Kitchen's GameMaker, primarily as a demonstration of the game-building software. A second sequel, Pitfall: The Mayan Adventure, made its debut on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System and Mega Drive Genesis systems in 1994, also appearing on the subsequent Sega CD and Sega 32X consoles. Having proved popular, the game was then ported to the Windows 95 operating system and the Atari Jaguar in 1995. Its most recent re-release was in 2001, on the Game Boy Advance. The Mayan Adventure was well known for including the original Pitfall game. In 1998, Pitfall 3D, Beyond the Jungle, featuring the voice of Bruce Campbell as Pitfall Harry Jr., was released for the PlayStation and Game Boy Color. In 2004, a fourth sequel was released for PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Xbox, Pitfall: The Lost Expedition. The game includes both the original Pitfall and Pitfall 2 games. A port of The Lost Expedition, Pitfall: The Big Adventure, was released for the Wii on September 23, 2008. In May 2010, Pitfall was released on Microsoft's Game Room service for its Xbox 360 console and for Windows-based PCs. It was also ported as both a Game Room and Xbox Live title on Windows Phone in February 2011. On August 9, 2012, Activision released Pitfall for iOS, on the iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. On December 21, Activision released Pitfall for Android as a free app. This version of the game departed from the 2D graphics seen in the original, and instead used 3D graphics. Gameplay was also altered. The game was an endless runner in the style of Temple Run. Legacy: Pitfall is seen as an important early game in the side-scrolling platforming genre. Although it did not scroll itself, it had all the features of such games, such as the ability to travel up and down on multiple levels of play. The game was also much longer than other Atari 2600 games of its time, which typically lasted only a few minutes. This was due to the majority of such games being ports of arcade games, where short play time encouraged players to spend more money. The 20-minute time limit was unprecedented, and marked an important point of transition between the arcade and home video game markets. Popular culture: in 1983, Pitfall made its animated television debut as a segment on CBS Saturday Supercade cartoon lineup, under the name Pitfall Harry. The basic plotline involved Harry, his niece Rhonda, and his cowardly mountain lion Quicklaw exploring various locations for hidden treasure. After only one season, Pitfall Harry, Frogger, and Donkey Kong Jr. were replaced by Kangaroo and Space Ace. The series has never officially been released on DVD or VHS. In the South Park episode Red Hot Catholic Love, Father Marksy searches for the holy document of Vatican law in order to have the law changed so that priests can be allowed to have sex with women. The final portion of him trying to find the holy document is him go through an area similar to the gameplay of Pitfall. In Wreck-It Ralph, Pitfall was among the video games seen at Litwick's Family Fun Center and Arcade. Pitfall is one of the games included in an Easter egg in Call of Duty, Black Ops EUROS Nuketown 2025 map. Pitfall Harry's picture is seen in the Hall of Fame The Guys in I Wanna Be the Guy. See also, Adventure, Jungle Hunt, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Spelunker, references. External links: Pitfall at Moby Games, Pitfall at Atari Age, Legends of the C64 article on David Crane and Activision, David Crane GDC 2011 Pitfall postmortem video at YouTube.